Hey guys, we're the Hard Time Strongman podcast, straying up a bear class of man, and today we're digging into Fieldcraft a little bit with a standalone episode on water. Today's reference is ATP 3-50.21 Survival. Alright guys, so this is our standalone episode. We've talked about water a lot. Pretty much every time that we've done a Fieldcraft or patrolling or preparedness, homesteading episode, we talk about water a lot because, shocker, you kind of need it.
Yeah.
But we wanted to dig into the survival handbook just to give a little more bare bones, a little more fieldcraft, bushcraft type approach, type information tailored to that. So this is more where you don't have infrastructure, where you don't have your best case scenario, contingencies, all that good stuff.
You're in the back 40 is basically what we're saying.
Yeah. And this is I don't have a good transition to get into this. This is a very heavy subject matter. It's a very dense episode.
Yeah.
So we'll try to break it down and give application the best we can, but you've been warned. So, general principles. If you have to choose between standing water or running water, always choose running water. You should always ensure that your water is properly treated, but if you can at least collect from a running source of water, you're already negating a lot of pretty nasty bugs that could crop up.
Oh yeah. Don't eat snow. Your body will have to melt the snow once you've eaten it, which is a really stupid way to waste calories. It'll also mess with your body's core temperature, and you don't want that thing dropping.
Meaning it will drop here. It's a really stupid way to get hypothermia.
Yes.
And on a, you can't be hard all the time note, it will chap your lips very quickly.
And that hurts, folks.
It does hurt. But I mean, if we're talking about a fieldcrafty sense, okay, so that's a wide open place for you to get infection, especially if you're eating some questionable things or fill in the blank there. Do not drink salt water ever, even a little bit. Stop it. Seriously, don't even think about it at all. Period. Except for what?
If it's been desalinated.
Which we're not talking about. Yeah, so there are ways to drink salt water. So, boiling, desalinating, there are ways to, to safely drink salt water. But if we're talking about just straight salt water, it's not worth it. Doesn't matter how thirsty you're wrecking everything.
Oh yeah.
Beyond repair.
Oh yeah.
Easy repair, at least. It's a quicker, more efficient way to kill yourself.
So
if you're dying of thirst.
If you're into that thing, go that route. But if you're not, stay away from it. Don't drink water found in natural depressions. This is what we like to call stagnant water, which is 9 times out of 10 contaminated.
Especially in natural depressions. Depression, if you remember our landmass class, is landmass going towards a central point.
Yep.
Right? So it's a low point in the ground. So all the water that you're going to find in that natural depression has had everything else trampling over it or running through it or fill in the blank there, or waste has sloughed off through there. It is the grossest of the gross good stuff water. It's probably not clear anymore. It's not worth it.
Not to mention fish in it.
Yeah, that too.
Thank you, Archer.
Don't drink urine or alcoholic beverages. Alcoholic beverages, that's just going to dehydrate you more. It's going to work on your liver and your kidneys, on everything. It's going to be a not great time for you. And if you were supposed to drink your urine, you wouldn't be urinating it out.
Urine is waste.
So please don't do that.
Don't do it. And if you ever wondered why...
Unless you're going to go through the whole bit of boiling it and everything else.
God,
whatever.
Filtering it. Yeah,
but don't drink from the tap.
Yeah,
folks.
exactly. And if you've ever wondered why after a long night of binge drinking, you wake up with a hangover, it's because you're super, super dehydrated. Your body has had to pull water from the one place where it keeps water to keep you alive, your brain. That's why you get a hangover.
We'll talk about it when we go over the renal system and everything, but please just don't drink your urine.
Yeah, just
Okay.
don't drink pee.
Like, I know we haven't gone over the whole crash course on that yet, like I promised we would, but I will. Just don't drink pee, don't eat yellow snow. This is stuff you should know already.
In fact, you might as well just consider all surface water contaminated by either human or animal waste. That includes pee, that includes poop. I mean, just filter your stuff.
So if you find standing water, if you find surface water, exactly. Good rule of thumb, consider it contaminated.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what came before you, robbing through that area. You don't know what that water, dripped off of, or what peed in it, or, whatever. You have to have these purification measures in place, but best case scenario, you need to be collecting from a suitable, a safe source.
And we'll get to that.
So water expenditure. So how much water do we actually use? So for the manual, at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, with limited activity, you'll need between 2 and 3 quarts of water to maintain just normal efficiency.
You lose about 1.4 quarts through peeing, and another quart through sweat.
Lose about a quart through sweat.
Yeah.
Right. In hot conditions, the water loss through your sweat can increase as much as 3.5 quarts per hour. And you may, yeah. And if you have a casualty who's a burn injury, they can lose up to 5 quarts per day. If you're sick, you'll lose even more water through vomiting and diarrhea. And this doesn't take into account, so that 2 to 3 quarts of water per day to maintain efficiency. Okay, that's with limited activity. Now, if you're soldiering, if you're building, if you have a higher level of activity, you bump those numbers up, man.
Oh yeah,
those are rookie numbers, and there is no toughing it out with water.
No,
there is no. Oh, you don't actually need that much water. You don't have to sweat. Yes. Yes, you do.
If you are doing heavy activity and you are not sweating, you need to stop what you're doing and go drink water, because you are about to freaking die.
Be a casualty.
Yep.
Yeah. And so old adage, right, is you can live, what was that? Well, a couple weeks without food?
I think so, yeah.
And 3 days without water. Okay. Yeah. Technically, yes, you will be living after 3 days without water. You aren't doing anything after the first day without water.
You're dying. That's basically what you're doing, is you're laying there, you're dying.
Like, you are not doing anything of value after a day of not having water. So I don't know how to make this sound more important. Water is needed.
Drink water.
So going on to water, you try to dig a knee, change your socks, drink water.
Yeah.
Water collection and storage. So if you don't have your issued containers, if you don't have your store-bought containers, non-porous materials can be improvised. So plastic bags, tarps, gourds, sheets, tree bark, anything that's non-porous, and you can fashion it in such a way where you're not going to be obviously losing that volume, can be used. Preferably use clean.
Yeah. And along those
bags, and such.
Along those lines, and talk about clean, let's talk about making your water drinkable, potable. In frigid areas, you got snow and ice. Melt it and purify it. Don't eat it without melting it. God, I can't say this enough.
Don't eat the snow.
Yes, don't eat the snow. Freaking melt it. It is not a snow cone. It is going to mess with your body.
Also, the snow or ice that you're collecting that water from is not purer than the water that it came from.
Correct. Like when it freezes,
So,
it doesn't just like,
dirty water
yeah,
that's frozen is still dirty water.
yeah.
It's just frozen.
It's not sloughing off whatever was in it once it freezes. Like it's not like the ocean water when it freezes, it gets rid of some of its salt if you can actually freeze it. But it's if it's dirty, like you said, and it freezes, that stuff's still staying in there.
Right. And that's why we really harp on having your 3 ways of purifying water, right? So you should have mechanical filtration, you should have chemical or purification, and you should have a way to boil water.
Yes.
At all times while you're out. This is why. Because just as a rule of thumb, you can't trust water because it is a sneaky killer if you have water that's been contaminated. We'll get into the bugs that you can run into towards the end of the episode, but anywhere you collect, you need to assume that it's dirty.
Absolutely.
Because that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
So at sea, seawater, if you have one available, use a desalinator. You need to get the salt out. If not, you can boil it. Use condensation, evaporation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you need to do. But you must not drink salt water without it, being desalinated, with it still being salt water. It's absolutely imperative that you don't.
Rain. You can catch the rain in tarps or in other containers. If the container is covered in salt, wash it in the sea before using. Very little salt will actually remain.
Right. And that's where you can, dry it off and everything else. So we're just talking about volume.
Yes.
Here is the big thing. What this is equivalent to is like if you had, a tall glass of water, just pinching a little bit of salt in it. That's not going to get you sick. We're talking about the, full-blown salt water. For those of you who weren't landlocked and actually played on the beach as a kid, you know exactly what we're talking about. Not great. Sea ice. For one, for this episode, we're talking about like, you're having a really tough day and you're surviving at this point, right? You're having to use your fieldcraft and your bushcraft. If you're encountering sea ice during this, goodness, man.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck. Sea ice is opaque or gray in color. If sea ice is opaque or gray in color, it's salty. Don't drink it without desalinating it. If the sea ice that you encounter is crystalline or bluish, it has little salt in it.
Still desalinated.
Yeah, preferably desalinate, but that one will be safer to drink.
Correct.
Than the tough stuff.
Yeah. So if you're on a beach, dig a hole deep enough for water to seep in, build a fire and heat rocks, drop your hot rocks in the water, hold the cloth over the hole to absorb the steam, wring the water from the cloth into a container to collect it. So, evaporation.
Right. This is also a really solid way to boil water.
Yes.
Without an open flame.
Correct.
If you aren't able to, cook over a flame, then, same thing. Hot stones.
Mm-hmm.
Throw them in there. It'll boil the water. Same thing if you're trying to, get a good, longer lasting heat source, like in a shelter. Heating rocks is a really good way to do that. You can also dig a hole behind the first group of sand dunes. So first group of sand dunes from the waterfront. Okay. So the water should be freshwater and salt free. Has to do with filtration of all the sand or what were you saying?
It should be. It should be. I wouldn't trust it, but
Right. But test. Obviously, you don't trust. Verify everything. Support the size of the hole with wood planks to prevent that sand from polluting the water. So you're just building off the sides, making a more structurally sound container.
Now the one that actually terrifies me the most. The desert. Oh, so here you basically just have to dig a hole deep enough to allow water to filter in and wait. And, good luck.
So your best bet is going to be in like riverbeds.
Yeah.
Riverbeds, in depressions, anywhere where you can get the lowest or where there's vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you're just going to dig a hole deep enough to allow water to seep in and, take what you can get. Something that's not listed here, vegetation in the desert. So cacti.
Yes.
So opening up cacti will have water in it if it's not opaque. If it's not opaque, if it's not white. If it is opaque or white, that is
it's
no good.
Yeah, it's dead, right?
Toxic to you, essentially.
Oh, toxic. Interesting.
I don't know. I just know you can't drink the water if it's opaque. So other considerations. So in cold environments, water containers should be stored upside down so it can still be used when it's frozen. Reason being, water freezes from top to bottom. So if you're, being around the bush and you have your canteens, flip those upside down in their containers. That way, if you're stopped for a while and the water freezes, you're still able to use the water you have. Also, something that we used to do is we could, put the canteen in, close to your chest.
Yep.
Share body heat with it so it doesn't freeze. Avoid any water with a foul odor. Faster moving water has more oxygen and typically fewer microorganisms. Does not mean it's clean.
Right.
So don't just go to a rapids, fill up your canteen, and be like, yep, good to go.
Still treat that thing.
You're still going to get sick. And fresh rainwater collected in containers does not require purification. I mean directly into your container. So if you're collecting like off a roof, off tree, falls from tree vegetation, down off a rock or wherever, that is still collecting all the microorganisms, all the bugs, and whatever else run off from those surfaces that you're collecting the water from. That still needs to be purified. Hey guys, Seven from the Hard Times Strongmen podcast here to bring a quick word from our newest sponsor, Blackbeard Fire Starters. We first saw Blackbeard Fire Starter a few years ago, and after seeing what the product can do, it's been our kit ever since. Their fire starter rope and their fire plugs are windproof, waterproof, dummy proof. They have an insane burn time, and like anything else that they offer, it just works. Besides their fire starters, they offer an arc lighter, ferro rod, stormproof matches, basically anything that you need to get a fire started. To better equip you, we cherry-picked their inventory and made our Hard Times Strongmen Fire Kit. Basically, our essentials kit for anything that you could need to get a fire started. But besides that, they're offering 10% off anything in their store when you use the code STRONGMEN. We love the guys at Blackbeard Firestarter. We love what they're doing. We trust them and we trust their products. And we honestly can't recommend them enough. Make sure to check them out online at blackbeardfire.com or on Instagram at blackbeardfire. Huge shout out to the guys at Blackbeard Fire for working with us and for bringing the fire. As always, guys, stay in the fight.
Hey everybody, this is 6 and 7 with the Hard Times Strongmen podcast. We are coming to talk to you about our Patreon and Discord.
Hey guys, our patrons get early access to all of our episodes. They get all of our exclusive pre and post shows, all of our spicy takes, all of our rabbit holes that we go on, everything that we want to include in an episode, but we can't because we need to stay on topic. And soon enough, we will be offering digital downloads, guides, everything that we've been working on in the background will soon be available to our patrons. So make sure to check it out.
And come hang out with us on Discord. Speaking of the spicy stuff, this is where we discuss most of it. Once you're there, you will get access to all of our in-depth discussions, including stuff like homesteading, fieldcraft, medical, camping, communications, shooting. You like ARs? Come talk to us about it. You like 4x4 vehicles and prepping? Come talk to us about it.
You like tannerite, thermite, napalm? Come talk to us about it. All of the campfire talks that would get us kicked off of other platforms, it's right there in our Discord. Come join our community.
We're active on Discord every day. We're interacting with members constantly. We have guys from every walks of life coming to contribute their expertise to all of these various fields and subjects that we've been talking about.
come join the watch Discord. Come join the Discord. Join our community. Build up that better class of man. Now back to the episode.
So let's talk about some of the methods of water collection. This first one is probably your favorite. I keep hearing you talk about this, the rain roof.
Homesteading.
Yes.
Yeah, I love rain roofs. So rain roof, as I know it, is just a super efficient way to collect water. So you're essentially building a mini roof with, that isn't on top of any structure. It is a mini structure, just support a few feet off the ground, and you're going for square footage. The way that I've seen them done, a few feet off the ground, off metal tubing, metal roofing sheets, however much square footage that you want to collect at a slight angle, slight decline, collects into a gutter. Gutter gets piped out to your water storage. And there is a lot of math that I do not know that helps you calculate how much water you're actually collecting per square footage for however much time of rainfall, but it's actually a pretty ludicrous amount how much you can collect. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that one.
Yeah. This next one's also a really good one if you're in a pinch. Dew. You collect dew by tying cloth, fine grass, sponges, etc. to the lower legs and walk through grass. Like it'll just...
Hell yeah, man versus wild.
Yeah.
Survivor, man.
Yeah.
I remember growing up as a freaking 13-year-old.
Oh my God.
I think I could do half that crap.
I feel like it's not going to collect a whole lot that way, but I mean, I guess I could be surprised.
I don't know. I feel like it just depends on your efficiency of effort. If you have super tall grass and you have a lot of it, like you're in a little prairie, why not?
Yeah.
If you're already traveling through, then, you're not wasting water and calories on it. It's one way to do it, at least.
Yeah, fair.
And plants. We talked about it a little earlier. So you need to ensure that whatever plant that you're trying to attempt to collect water from, you're able to possibly identify it. Because you don't want to try to suck on a freaking poison ivy plant for water. That's just not going to be a great day.
It's going to be hilarious for me. Oh.
And you'll probably be dead. And ensure that whatever water that you do collect from plants isn't discolored. It's not opaque. It's not white. It doesn't have an odor. If none of this is present, then you're probably safe to drink. If not, it's a really weird way to play Russian roulette. But whatever, you do you.
Yeah. All spills. Always filter it.
Always. You should be filtering regardless.
Yeah. All right.
This is another cool way. A vegetation bag. Or bag still. So you fill a plastic bag between a half to 3/4 full of your vegetation, and you tie that around a leafy branch of a tree. Make sure that the bag is airtight. You place a rock in the bag to draw the water via gravity, and you ensure that the water is in direct sunlight. And you collect all the water that's present before sundown, or it'll be reabsorbed. That's a weird sciencey one. It's kind of complicated, but need to know.
I mean,
regardless,
it's not that complicated. It's pretty understandable. It's kind of cool to even think about it.
College.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even really think of it that way, but it's like, yeah, that's true. I mean, you water your grass at night and it's just going to be soggy, but you water throughout the day. Yeah.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Well, I honestly thought was what you'll talk about this next one, but what I thought when I was writing out this episode was the below ground still.
Oh yeah,
because I've seen this on I don't even know how many survival shows. They always showcase this one.
Oh yeah, pretty much exclusively this is showcased on all those shows because it's almost foolproof. So your below ground solar still. This pulls water from the surrounding earth additionally and separates the drinking water from the salt water or the polluted water. What you want to do is dig a hole approximately 3 feet round by 2 feet deep. Then you dig a smaller hole in the center, and this size depends on the size of the water container. Place that container upright in the center hole. Place a plastic sheet over the hole, anchored by soil around the perimeter. Place a rock in the center of the sheet. If polluted or salt water is used, build a trough around the perimeter of the hole to dump the water into.
So basically, it's like a reverse teepee.
Yes.
Kind of, with the roof.
Mhm.
Because you're making a roof out of the plastic sheet that's going to collect all the water and have it run down with the rock. But it, rises with evaporation, and then as it, gains mass and weight, it naturally has to run down. And that's what you collect. This is definitely a passive way of collecting water. This is an all-day thing, but like you said, it works.
It works, and it leaves all the pollutants and salt in that trough that's around the perimeter of the hole.
And another mention for a seepage well. So seepage well, that's exactly what we're talking about with just digging down deep enough until water starts seeping into the hole. So it can be used in most environments. Best case here, most advantageous place would be outside the bends of a dry riverbed, foot of cliffs or rocks, low areas protected by the sun, and damp surfaces or subsurfaces. So anywhere you would suspect there to be water, obviously, the deep places where there's river beds or, things that are protected from the sun, then just start digging.
Yep. That's all you can do. But now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the things that should keep you up at night.
When you fail.
You're drinking
when you fail at purifying your water.
Drinking water hazards.
Giardia.
Oh my God.
It's a microscopic parasite that lives in the intestines of people and animals. The parasite is passed in the bowel movements of infected animals or people. Poop.
Yes.
Poop. It's poop.
Ugh.
If you poop where you drink water, you're going to get sick. So Giardia causes giardiasis. It's characterized by severe diarrhea, severe abdominal cramps, weight loss, dehydration. Symptoms appear 1 to 2 weeks after infection and last between 4 and 6 weeks. So listen, if you are dealing with this in a survival situation, you're dead.
Yes.
If you're not crapping your brains out right by a river bend where you can get water all the time, because you're going to dehydrate and you're freaking dead.
The problem with that, though,
because if you're sick, if you suspect this, you need to increase the amount of clean water, safe water you're drinking. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You're done. What season was that we watched on Alone?
Oh my God.
Where the dude thought that he could purify water just by running it over a mossy rock.
I don't remember, but I do remember him doing that and thinking to myself, this is the dumbest man alive.
And then he caught a parasite.
Yep.
And he's like, "Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, I'm pooping my leg." And then he had to get meted out.
Yep.
Because what did you think was going to happen?
Right. Oh yeah, you can run it over some moss and it'll get all the. No, it freaking won't. It absolutely will not. Especially not bacteria.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank God that he was in a fairly controlled environment. Imagine if he was trying to do that in actual life or death situation.
We would never
dead.
We would never know his name because he'd be dead.
I was gonna say, you'd get eaten by a parasite and you never knew who or where he was.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn.
Cryptosporidium.
Sporidium.
Yeah. Cryptosporidium. Cryptosporidium is also a tiny parasite, and it causes cryptosporidiosis.
Cryptosporidiosis.
Jesus.
It's okay. We're going to do a medical terminology class at some point.
I am not.
I've never been a little bit, but then it'll be better.
I do not belong to the medical community, even if my wife is provider.
I was going to say, I'm not a medic either. Get over it.
Yeah. So cryptosporidiosis, it presents like giardiasis, only more severe and prolonged. That'll keep you awake at night.
Dime.
Oh my God, yes. No cure. There is no cure for this, except time. Diarrhea may be mild and can last from 3 days to several weeks. The only effective way of neutralizing cryptosporidium is by boiling or using commercial microfilter. Chemical treatments have been oh
Sawyer water filters.
yes, Sawyer water filters. Thank you. Chemical treatments have not shown to be 100% effective in eliminating cryptosporidium.
And we talked about this. We talked about this in one of our earlier classes on mechanical filtration.
Yikes.
Any filtration method that you use outside of boiling water, check the manufacturer, check the label, right? See what it's actually effective against, what it guarantees against. Because you need coverage on all this stuff. Right? And if you have coverage against this and it gets you, it still got you.
That just sounds like a bad time.
So literally from 3 days to several weeks. No cure but time.
Which,
and drinking a lot of good water.
Giardia already sounded bad enough. 1 to 2 weeks after infection, and then last 4 to 6 weeks. Like, get the hell out of here. And then cryptosporidium is just even worse. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a stomach bug a while back where I had diarrhea, just severe diarrhea, or no, not diarrhea, just severe vomiting, just all day for like 2 days. And I had to end up going to the ER where they, just pumped me full of fluids and gave me, what did they give me? They gave me antiemetic, but dude, I lost 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And that was that was just at home. Like me trying to drink water, me trying to eat food. Like, imagine trying to do this in an operating environment and you were that sick.
No, I'm good.
Oh, I cannot. Horrible. Dysentery.
Yay.
It just makes me think of the Oregon Trail. You died from dysentery.
Yeah.
Severe and prolonged diarrhea with bloody stools, fever, and weakness.
Huh.
Also known as if you're alone or you have people who can't spend the time to take care of you, you're dead.
This sounds like COVID for some people.
Sucks to say.
Yep.
Cholera and typhoid.
Yeah, that's
so
some scary
you
stuff.
may be susceptible. Yeah, so y'all may be susceptible to disease regardless of your inoculation status. So regardless of if you got your typhoid shot, could still happen to you.
Yeah.
Cholera, profuse watery diarrhea, vomiting, and leg cramps. Typhoid fever, go figure. Headache, loss of appetite, constipation, and gastrointestinal bleeding.
Basically, your blood.
Not nice. Or puking up coffee grounds. Not great.
Ooh, coffee grounds?
It's what it looks like.
Oh my god.
So if you have a GI bleed if you have a stomach bleed and you vomit it, so the blood clots, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
looks like coffee grounds.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Oh, it's nasty. And GI bleeds reek. Oh, it reeks so bad. GI poops are foul.
Yeah.
Hepatitis A.
Yeah, Hep A.
Diarrhea, abdominal pain, jaundice, dark urine, spread through close person-to-person contact, ingesting contaminated food or water.
God.
That's why we cut out slit trenches. That's why you don't poop or pee where you eat. That's why you don't poop or pee where you drink. That's why hygiene is so freaking important.
Yeah. That's why we stopped crapping in the streets.
Some of us did. Hey, San Francisco. Good on you guys.
Leeches.
Dream alive.
I mean Democrats. No, I mean leeches.
Same difference.
If a leech is swallowed, it can hook onto the throat passage or inside the nose and can create a wound before moving onto a different area. These wounds can become infected. No kidding.
Absolute nightmare fuel.
What the hell?
Golly. Oh, and not to mention just in the process of you collecting water, if a leech gets on you in your sleeve or in your trousers or whatever, you may not know it's there. And then it's doing its leech thing, and then you get infection just from that.
Sitting
Yeah,
there drinking his blood.
not great.
That's crazy too, because way, way, way back in time. Actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that, because people are still using leeches. To this day, they are still using
They're
leeches.
still bloodletting.
They're still
Goodness,
bloodletting.
I can't.
Back in the day, leeches were used for bloodletting, which was a process that people thought was supposed to like
Just
actually,
get the sick out.
yeah, get the sick out. Turns out that's not the case. In some cases, it worked, because there could have been an instance of like too much blood. So they just needed to get some of it out of an area. But those were few and far between. What it really did was just cause infections and remove blood from people who actually needed the blood in them. Or they were crazy, and you can't bloodlet the crazy out of something unless you're trying to kill it.
Depends on how much you bloodlet them.
I didn't stutter.
Improvised filter. Generally a container filled with layers of material to trap microorganisms and other contaminants before exiting the container. So, example, a plastic bag filled with layers of charcoal, sand, crushed rock, or gravel. The idea being the finer stuff is at the bottom, right? And you're just increasing the gradient as you go. So when you dump your water out, it has to go through all those different mediums before it can come out. And by that time, it should be generally clean. That's the hope, anyways.
When I was in Scouts, this was one of the ways that we actually learned how to filter urine.
Was this before or after color?
Listen, I'm not that old. I'm old, but I ain't that old. Anyway.
When you talked, was there a delay before someone heard you, or was it at the same time?
Anyway, the improvised filter was one of the ways that we actually learned how to, in a pinch, filter urine. It's not the end all be all for it, because you still have to use other methods to actually get clean water first. It's the same principle that we talked about with the ground solar filter, because you evaporate the urine, it gets all the ammonia and crap out, and you're left with water. You still have to filter that. You can't just drink that. You have to filter it, and I recommend filtering it 3 times at a minimum.
Or boiling it.
Or boiling it. Yes. Aqua tabs, chemical filtration.
I was gonna say that's all I have for. So that's all I have for this manual.
Yeah.
That's all they had on the in the chapter. But we talk about this all the time, right? You should always have at least 3 ways to purify your water. You should have a mechanical filtration system, you should have a chemical purifier, and you should be able to boil water. Your gold standard is always going to be boiling.
Yep.
Always. So you don't need to mess with memorizing the altitudes. Just boil it for 3 minutes, whatever water you have. And that a rolling boil, right? And that will be safe to drink. You can add salt for taste, but that's always going to be your gold standard. But have something, especially with survival situations. You should never be caught with your pants down with this one. You can make this stuff work in a pinch. Yes, you can. Is it best case? No. Are you maybe causing infection? Maybe that's going to cause you longer to get back up to fighting shape. But the whole thing with this is survival, right?
Yep.
It's not best case scenario. As far as this manual goes, that's all I have for water. As far as collection, as far as purification, as far as what happens if you don't purify. But there we can always call back to our our normal recommendations, right? Have some sort of chemical filtration. So whether that is bleach, whether that is iodine tablets, whether that is aqua tabs, have mechanical filtration. There's a lot of different mechanical filters now. Grail is is one that a lot of people use. I don't really like it because it's bulky for not a lot of volume. But you can get gravity filters. You can get the straws you can get. Sawyer filters comes in, several variants. And then having, at least 3 ways to make a fire so you can boil water.
Jet boil.
A cool tool for the toolkit for that was superheating the stones.
Yeah.
I really liked that out of this chapter. I thought that was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Something I hadn't really considered before. But, if you fashion yourself a little container, a hole, and you're able to throw enough stones in there where you can boil water for 3 minutes, dude, that's safe to drink. That's pretty cool. Now, should you, throw a filter on there to get the residual sand out? Yes, but it is safe to drink. It killed whatever's in there. But no, that's all I have, man. You have anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, that was our class on water from ATP 3-50.21 survival. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. But until next time, we are the Hard Time Strongman podcast, cheering up a bear class of man. Stay in the fight.
Stay in the fight.
Hey guys, this is 6 and 7 with the Hard Time Strongman podcast. Wanted to take a second to do a mental health check-in and to tell you all about the 988 Crisis Lifeline. So, the 988 Lifeline is a national network of local crisis centers that provides free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the United States. You can reach the Lifeline at 988lifeline.org, or you can call or text 988 to get help, to get someone real on the phone.
Every struggle is different. Every struggle is hard. But you are not alone in whatever you're going through. As someone who has used the 988 crisis line, I fully recommend that if you're feeling any of those feelings of depression, suicide, hopelessness, get in touch with them immediately. They will help you. They will listen to you.
Once again, guys, you can reach the Lifeline at 988lifeline.org, or you can call or text them at 988. As always, guys, stay in the fight.
Stay in the fight.